Buddy, it's me, Dr. John Wolfenstein here, and today I'm going to be going through some character creation with you guys. Hold on. Alright. So, as a lot of you know, normally I have streams on Wednesdays, and, well, this week we didn't have one. And that's perfectly okay, perfectly normal, perfect, nothing to be concerned about or over. Camera not sitting right. Hold on. Alrighty. But, at any rate, that's kind of normal here. But, we are going to be starting a brand new tabletop game in about 2 weeks. This is going to take place of Tyranny of Dragons, so for those of you who are watching that particular stream and super excited, I am sorry. But my players and I have all kind of been burnt out on it. It is a monster of a module to get through, in all honesty, and we weren't even done with the first book. We may pick it up again at some point in the future, we may not. The world may never know. But what is known and what is, very clear is that we all wanted to play something a little different. And I have the perfect game to do that. So we are actually starting 2 weeks from now. We are going to play Avatar Legends, the roleplay game. So for those of you who are huge Avatar The Last Airbender or the Legends of Korra fans out there, by all means, support our endeavor, because we're super excited about it, and we hope you guys will be too. But the beta, or well, the PDF for the book, the core rulebook, has come out, as has the quick start materials. So I decided that we're going to go over with making a character today. So the first part of any of the Avatar games is to determine what your era is. And that has more to do with a campaign setting, that has more to do with the world around you, not specifically your character. But that's okay. In the tabletop game that we're going to play in the 100 Years War era. A focus is on time just before Avatar Aang's awakening at the beginning of Avatar The Last Airbender. Play in the 100 Years War era if you want to rebel against unjust rule, protect the weak, and stand up to tyranny. So, we are going to be playing that particular era. We already chose that our scope is going to be slightly broad, not quite ocean to ocean, but definitely broader. And so there's a lot of different stuff. They already have a group focus, and you, with your group, are going to come up with your era, the scope, and your group focus. What are you trying to do? As well as you're going to create an outlying incident. Inciting incident. This is the incident that brought you guys together as a team. All of that is very important to the setting that you're doing. However, it is not super important to what we're doing here. So currently on Roll20, they have the quick start materials for the character sheet created. And it's, fantastic. It's a fantastic character sheet, very easy and quick to understand, so it'll work out nicely. As the official releases, I imagine Roll20 will update the character sheet at some point and add the new one, as well as all the playbooks to it, and that way you can play more completely. And much like in any other roleplay game, you are going to have a kind of class you can play. In this particular game, they call it a playbook. I'm just going to be using the we have Whitehill in our game. And we are going to be using the playbooks that are in the we're going to be using the playbooks that are available in the Avatar: The Last Airbender's quick starter stuff, simply because that the playbook I want to go for this character is actually in here. The 6 that are in the character sheet on Roll20 are as follows: the Bold, the Guardian, the Hammer, the Icon, the Idealist, and the Successor. Each one serves a different function. This character is going to be a Hammer. So the Hammer is strong, tough, and looking for a deserving face to punch. Play the Hammer if you want to grapple with what Force can and can't solve. So I am picking the Hammer. So in this character creation, you first start off with your playbook. You then are going to define your character concept. Have an idea of what your character is and what your character is going to be and what you want to do with your character. It may be as simple as, oh, I just want a cool monk martial arts guy, or I want to make a character like Sokka, or, I want to make a tinkerer who's completely bonkers. Whatever you want to do. Next, we're going to name our character. Because this character is going to be from the Fire Nation, I already kind of have a name for him. His name is going to be... This is Raizu. For those of you who would like to, you can add your pronouns to this game. So I am using the pronouns he, him. If that's not important to you, then don't worry about it. But if you want your character to be a they, them, he, her, he, him, she, her, whatever, then, you can do pretty much whatever you want. I mean, if you're a non-binary samurai, you are a they/them. Ha! It's also how you fight. Bad jokes aside. Next, you're going to pick your training and your fighting style. So trainings can be one of the 4 elements that you learn to bend. You can also take weapon specialist or tech specialist. Now, picking one of the only time that picking one of these is going to exclude you from the others is if you pick bending. It has already been stated, and it is stated several times in the rule books, that no one but the Avatar gets to bend more than 1 element, and so you will only be able to bend 1 of the 4 elements. This character is going to be a firebender because of the idea I have for him. But next, you get to pick your fighting style. Basically, how do you apply your bending? Or how do you apply your training? Because firebending, yay, fire sweep, fire punch. Or if you want to, learn from General Iroh, because he is general in this time period, breathing fire. That's all well and good and basic, but, what about being a firebender makes you unique? Or this character, rather. What makes him unique? And so, in all honesty, I am going to put Flaming Wolf Fist. Because my character, the idea I have for this character, is he's going to use his firebending to coat his extremities, his hands and his feet, in flames, and he's going to do kung fu. And everybody's going to be kung fu fighting. But, so, he is going to be the master of the Flaming Wolf Fist, a fighting style that he has come up with to incorporate both firebending and martial arts. Next, you choose a background. You can pick up to 2 backgrounds. If you only want to pick 1, then that's fine. You don't have to pick one. This guy is going to be an outlaw, and he is going to be wilderness. So an outlaw, he's basically outside of people. He's the rebel, the bandit, whatever it is. And then, of course, wilderness means that he grew up more in touch with nature. And that's perfectly fine. And so you pick ba ba, up to 2. Next is hometown, and this is in your notes section. If you scroll down here to the bottom, you can pick your notes. And for him, his hometown is going to be a Fire Nation colony. Just somewhere. It could be real, it could be fictitious. Basically wherever you want that that you are from. You can also describe how you feel about it, why you left, or pretty much any other way. Now, the demeanors. This is basically to describe how your character behaves in social situations. And so the question becomes how does your character act when they're engaging with other people? I'd say he's blunt. He's very blunt and to the point. I'd also say he's more quiet than anything, but he is definitely determined. You can pick 3, you can pick 1, you can pick 2. It doesn't matter. Just pick the ones that you think apply to your character, or you could create your own. Just talk with your storyteller or your dungeon master. Actually, in this game, it's called a GM, Game Master. Talk to him and see what he or she thinks. See what they think. Yeah, that's right. See what they think. But next is choose your look. What do you look like? Well, I would say he has tight, form-fitting martial arts uniform under loose flowing leathers. And let's go with spiky black hair, green eyes, pointy teeth. Why not? Make it look however you want. Next is going to be the history questions. These are the questions about your character that you need to answer. Each playbook has a set of questions, and each one needs to be answered. So the first question the hammer has is, what injustice has driven you to use your strength for good? The injustice of the incompetent ruling over the competent. My character doesn't care for incompetence, doesn't care for incompetent people, and certainly doesn't like taking orders from those he believes to be incompetent. So, incompetent people get punched in the face with fire. It's a very Dr. Wolfenstein character already. Who represents the kind of positive strength and force you want to embody? That's a tough one. His teacher. Who tried their best to teach you restraint, calm, and thoughtfulness? His mother. What kind of fragile trinket or heirloom do you keep and protect? Let's see here. Yeah. Why are you committed to this group and purpose? They seek to stop those I see as incompetent. I must help. Bada bing. Answer your history questions and ta-da! You're all done there. Next we go to stats. So in this game, every playbook has a set of stats that are going to be prioritized, as it were. Basically, these are stats that your character or your playbook is going to be proficient in of some way. They are, of course, creativity, focus, harmony, and passion. True passion! Ha. But, so the question is question most people will have is, okay, well, what are your stats? And they're used pretty simple, pretty basic, stats that you follow. And so for starting stats, we have a creativity +1. We have focus -1. Harmony is at 0. Passion is at 1. And that is for the hammer specifically. Now, the part that's coming up is you get to add a +1 to any of the stats that you want. And so I'm actually going to add a +1 to creativity. Oh, there we go. Ta-da-da! Alright, and bad-me. So creativity is going to be a 2. So creativity measures your ability to think quickly and unconventionally, to come up with surprising plans or breathtaking art. Focus measures your character's ability to perform difficult or precise tasks under pressure, to shut out distractions, and work in a patient, disciplined, or stubborn manner. Harmony measures your character's social sensitivity, care, and empathy, their attitude at taking into account the views and feelings of others, and acting in an honest and compassionate way. Passion measures the intensity of your character's emotions and drive, and how good they are at listening to their feelings and turning them into decisive action. My character is far better at thinking on his feet and thinking creatively than he is at doing pretty much anything else. You take fatigue. Fatigue is like your health bar. You have 5. These are the conditions. Each one is listed and says what it's a -2. And then balance. Every PCE is going to have a balance track. Each playbook has a specific balance. Basically, this is where you, as a character, are pulled to. You're pulled towards one of 2 ideals that are often opposing as part of your playbook. For the hammer, it's care versus force. If you go too far down one, you're losing the other. And there will always be inverses. So as you can see on the chart here, if you go too far down care, you're going to suffer the more force when you try to use force. If you go more towards force, you're going to suffer with care. Now, in the game, you start out normally with it right smack dab in the middle, 0-0. However, at character creation, you can shift it one direction any way you want. Now, they have to follow each other. So in this case, it's going to be right here. 1-1 towards force. And then I'm going to leave these dots highlighted because that is where my center is going to be. Easy peasy. Next, you're going to look at your moment of balance. Moment of balances are very powerful. They basically are like the average person's avatar state, where you will do the thing, win the scene, and defy the odds. Every playbook has a different moment of balance, but each moment of balance must be achieved through gameplay. You never start with it available to you, and that's okay. Now, we're going on to the moves. Each playbook has a list of moves, things that you can do, and things that you are going to be doing. When each character, While each character can perform any of the basic moves in the game, your playbook moves are special qualities and abilities that make your character different from everyone else's. Look over the options available to you in your playbook and choose 2 moves that match your character concept or that you think would be fun or interesting to use in play. So, in the Hammer's case, we have Fueled by Anger, Walls Can't Hold Me, Punch Where It Matters, Comprehend Your Foe and Respond, Stand and Fight. So, I like to think that my character punches where it matters. And this basically says, when you assess a situation, you can always ask who or what here is most vulnerable to me, even on a miss. Remember to take a +1 ongoing to act in accordance with the answer. A lot of this is roleplay heavy. This is an apocalypse system. It's a 2d6 system, and so there are a lot of... what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of story involved. A lot of kind of, interpreting how you go about the actions. And the GM doesn't roll anything, so that's a fantastic thing in and of itself. I would say the next thing is that comprehend your foe and respond is definitely his way of thinking. When you defend and respond against a foe whose balance principle you may mark fatigue to roll with creativity instead of focus. Basically, when I'm defending and responding, if I know their balance principle, then I can mark fatigue and roll with my creativity instead of my focus. And that's a good thing because my focus is a -1. So, that is that. And of course you have other playbook moves. There are many playbooks, and you will get an opportunity through growth and through advancement in order to take other moves. But for now, we're just going to start with these 2. Each playbook also has a feature, a special kind of playbook move which other players cannot take. So, the question is well, what is your feature? My feature is, as the Hammer, is bringing them down. So, you always as a Hammer, I always have an adversary, one who represents the things you're trying to smash through: tyranny, inequality, war, larger and more dangerous concepts that, to you at least, this one person embodies. Your adversary is someone significant and powerful, someone who actually deserves the amount of force you can bring to bear. I am going to go with a Lieutenant Zhao. Because fuck Lieutenant Zhao. Fuck him right in the face. Now, my goals are to not only discredit them, but also depose them. I don't want him in power anymore, and I want him to make sure that nobody else wants him in power. So, that is my feature as the Hammer. Connections is basically who you know. Connections are a section, because we haven't introduced our PCs yet. Basically, it's, your connections in the group, as well as maybe some connections for NPCs, but mostly it focuses on the group. Now, combat techniques. Each hero in Avatar, the Avatar Legends, the role-playing game, is a trained warrior of some kind and starts their adventure with some extra advanced techniques that they can use in combat exchanges. Now, combat exchanges are, if we're going with an Avatar, reference, Zuko throws a couple of fireballs at Aang. Aang Aang dodges, flips around Zuko, and blasts him with air. That is one exchange in the terms of combat. These advanced techniques can be used in place or in addition to the basic techniques, depending. What? My alarm. Excuse me. Can be used in place or in addition to the basic techniques, depending on your stance move results. So, we are creating a character for a full campaign. So, we start with one mastered technique and one learned technique. A mastered technique is a technique that you've learned that you can call upon all the time without fail. And yes, it may be advanced, but you can always use it. A learned technique is a technique that you have learned, but you are still working to perfect. Basically, you've learned how to do it, now you have to actually go do it in the heat of combat. And so, in this situation, the techniques are listed in their own separate thing in the book. It's page 279 is the appendix A, where the techniques start. There are universal techniques, basically the techniques that everybody can use. And then there are techniques specific to your fighting style or your, training. So I'm going to go for the firebending techniques. So, in this case, there are several. There is always, of course, there are the advanced bendings in these techniques: lightning, arc lightning, lightning blast, or combustion bending if you want to go explosive blast. I myself am not going for any of those advanced techniques. I am going to go for a universal technique, though, because I think it might be a better idea. And I will... Well... Let's see. No, I think I'm going to go with 2 firebending techniques, because I want this guy to be a big old firebender. So what I'm going to do is By the way, these are the references, basically what you can do in different situations. Alright, so I am going to go with I'm going to go with Wolf Fire Strike. It is a mastered technique. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Fire Blade technique, and I'm simply going to reflavor it. And that is one thing about Avatar Legends, is that there's a lot of reflavoring involved and a lot of, custom ideas involved. So, in this particular case, strike. Opponent with your flaming fists. And then it'll say mark 1 fatigue to slice. And I'm just going to say punch through a piece of your surroundings and destabilize your foe's footing. So as you take fatigue, they will take more fatigue. Da-da-ding. Alright, and we're going to hide the edit. Next, we're going to add another one. And this one I'm going to just keep very basic. And this one is going to be... this is going to be Flame Knives. And this one is going to be my learned skill. So this says mark up to 3 fatigue. Hold an equal number of flames. Lose 1 flame at the end of each exchange after this one. When you inflict fatigue or conditions on a foe, inflict an additional 1 fatigue for each flame remaining. Bada bing. And so, this has a roll attached to it, or rather a detail. And you can click that, and your DM will ask you to roll your... oh, interesting. Your DM will ask you to roll your 2d6. Bada bing. That's an 8, so technically I succeeded with a complication. Though, not how combat works, really. But again, this is character creation, not combat analysis. Now, growth question. It's very important. So, growth questions are listed on your playbook. At the end of every game session, the players discuss what their companions learned during the course of the episode. And yes, each session is called an episode, and each campaign is also called a season. Anyway, there are 3 questions everyone always answers. You can set those, you can see them, but each playbook has a question which only that character answers. Each yes allows you to check a growth box. When you mark the 4th growth box, you advance and choose one of the options under growth advancement. You don't have any decisions to make here, but consider what triggers this so you can play towards it. The rate at which your character advances and grows is in your hands. So again, the DM doesn't actually tell you if you advance or not. You are asked questions, and if you answer yes and you mark 4, once you have done so, once you've answered 4 questions and answered yes to them, then you get to improve. So, the growth questions. At the end of each session, answer the following questions. For each yes, mark one of the 3 growth boxes. When you have marked all 3 growth boxes, listed above, clear the track and take a growth advancement. Did you learn something challenging, exciting, or complicated about the world? Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem? Did you guide a companion towards balance or end the session at your center? Did you make significant progress towards your goal against your adversary? This last one is the question for the hammer alone. Did I make significant progress towards my goal against my adversary? Well, it kind of depends. Maybe I haven't. Maybe in the first session I won't. But maybe in the first session I do at least one of these. So let's just mark a box. Just to say I have 1 growth box. I think that's fair. Now, on page 210 in the book that is sent out to you, you have growth advancements. So, growth advancement or growth improvement, you may check off a box. So, when your character has marked all 4 boxes of their growth track, you clear all 4 boxes and earn a growth advancement. The growth advancement comes into play immediately, providing your PC with its benefits as soon as you earn it. Usually this happens at the end of the session, functionally between sessions, but even if it happens during play, the PC immediately gets access to the advancement. If you aren't sure exactly what to take, you don't need to decide immediately, but you should take the advancement by the end of the next session at the absolute latest. Your character should evolve naturally over time instead of banking 3 or 4 advancements to be used all at once. The growth advancements are listed on every playbook along with boxes. Each time you take a growth advancement, mark one of those boxes. If there are no empty boxes, you can't take that advancement anymore. The one exception is raising a stat by +1. But you may only raise a stat to a maximum of +2 total through standard growth advancement. Some moves from some of the playbooks let you raise a stat to a +3 total. This does mean eventually your characters won't be able to continue to earn growth advancement, and that's okay. That signals that they have already grown a great deal and their story is likely coming to a close for Avatar: The Legends role-playing game. So, this one says, once you have 3 growth experience, you may take one of these. Check off any you've already taken. So, I can unlock a moment of balance. Apparently I can do that twice. Interesting. I can shift my center by 1 step. And shifting your center is this bottom one. So my center could theoretically end up here. Theoretically. Do, 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 do. Ba 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 da 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 da. So your center is right here. Your balance, you can shift either direction. Fair enough? Fair enough. Now, when this says you can shift your center by 1 step. So eventually you could end up with your center being either here or here, if you took both of them, which is okay. You can take a new move from your playbook. You could do that twice. So you could eventually pick 2 of your remaining 3 abilities. You can then take a move from other playbooks. You could do that twice as well. And of course you could raise a stat by +1 to a max of +2. So in this case, if I were to take that on my next growth, I couldn't add it to creativity, but I could add it to passion. None of my moves actually let me increase a stat by +1, let me have the +3, and that's okay. Because in all honesty, I would probably take the walls can't hold me, and then I would probably take the stand and fight, to be honest. Now, in addition to growth advancements, every PC in Avatar Legends, the role-playing game, can improve themselves in another way by learning and mastering new advanced techniques. Learning advanced techniques represents a character's skills growing as they become capable of performing new and impressive feats consistently within combat and more powerful and dynamic uses of their training in general. All players start play with all 9 basic techniques mastered. In fact, every fighter in this game has mastered all 9 basic techniques based on their training. Any NPC who doesn't have all 9 basic techniques mastered is not a trained fighter at the level of most in the game, but might be a student or an ordinary citizen who doesn't have much cause to practice their bending in combat. So, keep that in mind. Types of advanced techniques the universal, the group, the rare, and of course rare techniques. Specialized bending techniques are also available. Basically, when you want to learn a new technique or a new training or a new move, you have to train it, and that's in-game story that you're developing. Excuse me. You can always improve techniques, and you can always do specialized bending. There are specialized bending. Known specialized forms: blood bending, combustion bending, healing, lava bending, lightning bending, metal bending, seismic sense, spirit bending. Those are all advanced bending techniques. Now, if you start in at the 100 Years' War era or earlier, do keep in mind that there are some limitations. After all, metal bending was invented by Toph. That is actual canon. And this book is technically canon-driven, as it is officially licensed and approved by Nickelodeon. So keep that in mind. Now, that's not to say I don't imagine it can't be used earlier, but I'm just going to... me personally, I've told my players that it'll be very hard to convince me that you invented metal bending before Toph did. Just saying. But if that's not how you want to run it, then that's, run it however you want. But with that, we come to the end of character creation. The very last thing in character creation is what you do with your friends and what you do with the rest of your table, which is introduce yourself. And then bringing the cast together. You decide as a group how your characters all met each other, how they got to where they are, and how they're going to continue on through their adventure. And you do that as a group together, which I find to be pretty impressive and pretty fun. So, meet Raizu, the firebending master of the Flaming Wolf Fist. I know Kung Fu. But, with that, I would like to thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for listening to me ramble on and on for 42 minutes. But I hope you all found it informative. I hope it was able to help you and answer any questions. Feel free to drop a like and a follow on my YouTube or my Facebook, or even just like it here on Twitch and follow me on Twitch for more content. I am going to be streaming every Wednesday night from 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is going to be my official stream time every week. I am going to basically forever be streaming unless I am on vacation or doing other various things. I will basically try to never miss that appointment. I will be adding more random streams throughout the week, of course. And as I get better in the VTubing, with the help of my brother Crowlot, who's been really into it, and who designed this killer avatar. Definitely go drop him a follow on Twitch. And subscribe to him on YouTube, if he has a YouTube. I don't remember if he does or not. I'm forgetful. But I will be upgrading my VTubing the more I use it. So hope you guys are here for the future of this channel and of this amazing stream. And until next time, my friends, this has been Dr. John Wolfenstein here, and wishing you all a good day.